I just want to personally thank you for telling that story and being comfortable sharing that, because it means a
Well,
lot.
well, you're welcome. And there's a lot of other great workers in behavioral health or human services, whatever you want to call it, that I've run across over the years too, that are really dedicated and do the best they can for their people. Um, it's sometimes I forget until I tell someone else that I'm lucky enough to be a miracle. Um,
Mm.
and I can tell anybody listening out there that you know you can overcome anything. There is help out there. There are people who are willing to listen to you, whether it be a therapist, to be in treatment, at an AA meeting or an NA meeting, whatever. But there are people out there that do want to help and do genuinely care
Yeah,
that you do well. And I will share a story about my first AA meeting, if that's okay.
absolutely.
All right. Well, let's put it this way. That Friday night was not. I was not planning on going to an AA meeting. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
It really screwed up my drinking plans that night. Um, but I still remember this day. I remember what this gentleman looked like. His name was Charlie, and I'm at this meeting, and I'm going, "Oh my God, how the hell did I end up here? I wasn't going to be like my father." And I'm just scared to death. And he walks over and he says, "Well, my name's Charlie, and this is what we do here. This is what you can expect, and you're going to be okay. You'll be all right." And that was that was like over 31 years ago, and I still remember it to this day because he made me feel safe. He made me feel like it's okay that you're here. In fact, it's a good thing that you're here.
Yeah.
And so I've tried to extend that to other people. And a person I've known A for a long time, I ran into him at a speaker meeting, and he goes, "I still remember you. You're the first guy that shook my hand and said you're in the right place."
Mm. Wow.
So, so just something as simple as extending your hand and letting people know, you're all right. You're going to be okay. Carries a lot of weight, and
Yeah.
and that made me want to come back.
Yeah.
And and so that uh, all these years later, I still remember that, and I
Yeah.
probably will never forget it.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story. That
That
is.
really is. That's one of the reasons too, and maybe we've shared this too, Randy, but one of the approaches for me personally that is built into the people metrics portion of our courses back here is called coactive coaching, and it essentially, the overarching approach to it is that every single human being is perfectly intact and well equipped to do anything they want to do in their life.
Yes.
They're not broken. They don't need fixing, you know. And I often say this too, maybe because we live partially in the IT world with our Soren group, our sister company, but it's that sometimes we just have to reformat something. We got to add an app or a program.
Mhm.
So maybe that's more relevant, and I just don't look at it like there's anything wrong or broken with anyone. It's just need a hand up, need someone to offer help.
Well, I think maybe it's an app just for maybe human kindness and human understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's I think key to anything you're going to do with folks is those two concepts.
Yeah, it's very true. Okay, well, I think, do you want to talk about for 1 second, one more time, on how folks can help with the TASC program? I know I think we mentioned them all, right? We talked the bridge.
Yes, I think we caught all of them. Yes.
Okay.
Again, it can be something as simple as just donating. If you want to really get active, start contacting your legislators. Nebraska, my understanding is going to get close to $1 billion in this COVID money. And as far as I can tell, I'm talking to a few people that know more than I do, not a dollar of it is earmarked for substance abuse or mental health.
Really?
Really. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And I'll just say that's a damn shame. If you can't invest in some of the people in your society that need it the most, and I'm not sure what that talk tells us about our society,
Yeah.
where it's headed. Again, nobody wanted to. I didn't want to be the son, adult child of an alcoholic. I didn't want to be an alcoholic. I didn't want to have major depression. I didn't want to have fibromyalgia. I'm fortunate enough that I had supportive people, and I'm a resilient person.
Yeah.
Not everybody is as much,
Right.
and so if we're gonna kind of let those folks fall through the cracks, because a lot of these folks, if they get help and they get sober, they are very good functioning people in society. They're your neighbor, your friend, you're that employee you count on. And the politicians are like this, but they're taxpayers then too.
Right.
And so, but we should invest in folks that need it the most because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But the benefits are a million fold
Yeah.
of investing in people. And I don't think politicians see things that way. I don't know any politicians, but nor do I want to be one. But I think if they looked at things a little bit differently, they could find in their heart maybe to give us a little bit of that money, for substance abuse and mental health. But that's the frustrating part. Again, that's the difference you see. I've worked with the aging population too, and the funding is better there. Again, better for the developmental disabilities. We all have people that are disabled, and we all know people that are old, but we also know people that have mental health and substance abuse issues and trauma issues that they need help just as much, if not more.
Yeah.
And again, the benefit is huge to making them better functioning people in society. It's huge. But yeah, well, I'm going to get off my soapbox, but I could talk for hours. But yeah,
we have a lot of complex problems in society today, and it's going to take folks like us having difficult conversations to try to address it and create awareness and, crack someone's heart a little bit to change their mind. Maybe if we can just soften their heart a little bit and change their thinking, like you mentioned that, I think that's important to keep having these conversations. And it does seem like some things have maybe changed. It does seem, and maybe you think differently, but it does seem like the overall consensus is that it's okay to talk about some of these things, mental illness or substance use.
Yeah, I think it has gotten better over the years. I'll give you my own stigma story here. So when I was in treatment, I had this same mustache, and my counselor at the time, he said, "Well, are you depressed? You act like you're depressed." I said, "I'm not depressed. I'm thinking I'd rather be an alcoholic, but I'm not depressed. Damn it."
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my own stigma. So I've learned over the years that those two things are intertwined, and I have to take care of both of them, and that's okay. Those are just no different if I had diabetes or a history of heart disease in my family.
Right.
I think society in general is getting more accepting of those things. But as we talked earlier, I don't think that work is completely done.
No.
And that's okay. I mean, as human beings, we want to categorize things and keep them in a nice little area in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, sometimes we don't get impact unless it affects us kind of directly or indirectly. And that, that's just the way things are a little bit with humans, but we have made progress. I mean, there really has been progress in that regard. And I think, no matter what group or group of folks or diagnoses, whatever, you're always going to see some of that. I think the goal maybe is to just keep whittling away at it.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you guys are going to be doing here. I mean, you're going to be taking in people that you're not going to look at all that other stuff. You're going to look at, here's a person that has entered our program and we want to help them. And we're going to take in some consideration, the human part of it, first and foremost, and we'll work from there.
Yeah.
And that's actually, to me, human service in the purest form.
Yeah.
What you're wanting to do is like, we're going to try and keep all the other buzz and stuff out of this picture as much as we can, and just focus on some basic things and then moving people forward.
Right. Yep.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
With this program, that means a lot to us.
Well,
It does.
that's why I got so excited when I talked to you the first time. It's like, wow, I found somebody that shares the same brain, which is kind of frightening because I'm kind of unique, but
Yeah. Hey, it's okay.
Well,
That's what we need. We need people that are unique, that are willing to face the challenge and take it on. It's not easy. It's not easy asking for help and asking for support and having these conversations. I mean, I don't know. I take it personally. My empathy level is higher, and it's almost maybe goes beyond that. I don't like to see people suffer, human beings suffer. I'm a helper, I'm a connector, so I'm a people person. So for me, it's hard for me to watch people have challenges, and it's beautiful to see them have that pivotal moment, the epiphany, right? But
yes.
it's hard to see. I think a professor in college one time told me that the hardest thing you'll ever do as a parent is watch your children suffer. But you have to do it.
Yeah. Well, and for all of us, unfortunately, I'll speak for myself, but I think in general, we have to go through a little pain to have that epiphany. And that's not always a bad thing. Because I think if you go through that and learn and move through it, then you're invested in you.
Yeah.
Because I've moved through this now, and I feel stronger now.
Right.
I'm not fixed, but I feel stronger. I feel more confident and understanding who I am or my role in the world, or for some people, maybe I'm not as bad as I thought I was.
Yeah.
So those things, I used to tell when I worked in the jail diversion project, I used to tell clients it's work worth doing. You're investing in yourself, believe it or not. Yeah. Well, I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. I said, well, it's not supposed to. Unfortunately, it's not supposed to feel good.
Right.
But you will get rewarded at the end, I promise you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like resistance. Sometimes that's the thing. We need to be stronger. I think it's oftentimes why folks, that have gone through, have sat in that seat, they make the best counselors and substance use coordinators, and because they've been through the toughness. It's the same reason I always say, I guess, is why we have wind, right? Because if there wasn't any wind, most of the trees would just fall over. It's what makes trees strong. It makes their roots grow deep. So many people that I think, I guess, is, over the years, is just when you go through that, you are so tough and strong for having done that. It's like you're almost, undefeatable. You can't be defeated.
And just from a personal standpoint, I've had some things in my life where the last 5 years that I have made a stand, said, no, I'm not sacrificing myself. Yeah. I'm not going to sacrifice myself to make other people happy. Basically meaning that situation where I was kind of left to kind of either deal with this or not. And I chose not to deal with it because it wasn't part of my values. It wasn't something that was going to mesh well with the person I'd become, and also the journey and the struggle to become that person. I wasn't going to sacrifice that.
Yeah.
And not everybody understands that concept, but at that time, it was the right thing for me to do, and it was tough. Yeah. But I didn't want to lose who I'd become. Yeah. And so that's that growth part where we struggle for it. And now I'm going to value that because, by God, I struggle for this. I'm not going to just give it away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, the thing that with what you guys are going to be doing here that I really like too is that sometimes we forget that when we're trying to help another individual, we forget that sometimes they take those concepts or that act and they share it.
Mm.
I'll give you an example of that. When I worked in that program in Iowa, one of the things I was so excited about it, other people didn't understand why, but I knew why. Basically, a gal I was working with, I recognized right away she'd been through some traumatic stuff. And so, in talking with her and kind of sharing with her some of the things, this is something I learned in AA. So I shared it with her. I said, I had a lot of self-esteem issues when I first got sober. And I said to her, I said, you know what I was taught to do? I was taught to name at least 5 things about myself or about what I'd done that day that were good. And I said, she goes, really? That sounds hard. I said, yeah, it is hard when you don't believe it. And he started doing that.
Yeah.
And then I heard later on from another staff person, she shared that same concept with another gal who was struggling. And they said, where'd you learn that? I said, well, I learned that in the program I was doing. And so that excited me to no end because she was taking that and she made, we can make a little splash in the pond, whether it's negative or positive, but she made a positive splash and it rippled outward to where she could share that with someone else. And I think that's what you guys are going to be doing here a little bit, to be honest with you, because you're going to bring people in, the ones that are successful and move through, they're going to take some of that same teaching or same things you're doing here and use that with other people in their lives.
Sure.
And that's huge because it does 2 things. They help someone else, but then they also feel good about helping someone else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then that also builds their self-confidence and self-esteem because
Yeah.
nothing, for most of us, nothing feels better than to help someone.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was seeing with that program. And I was like, these guys were carrying it outside of the program.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I said that little splash can be positive or negative. Hopefully, if we make a more positive one, it goes and ripples throughout their life and throughout the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's a great point. It really is. Really great point. Well, gentlemen, I think with that, Randy, if there's anything else, you want to share with us.
Thank you for letting me share. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to, like volunteering or helping you guys out here in whatever way I can. Because I really, like I said, I can't reemphasize how much I really believe in this type of program or this type of work and how it can really help someone. And for me personally, it helps me a lot to know that I can share, as we say in AA, that our experience, strength, and hope.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me give another defense against that first drink or makes my depression better. And if I feel better, guess what? My fibromyalgia does better too. and because with fibromyalgia, I have to watch my stress level. I have to not overdo. And it's kind of funny. Even when I do get stressed, obviously, and so I know that I'm going to feel it right, at some point. But that's just the way it is. But these things help us just as much, I think, as the people we're trying to help.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It's a thing of where you talk about the support that you've had.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving that support to so many people, and even just talking about how you want to follow along with what we're doing here.
Yeah,
that's added support, and that's just, we welcome that. We thank you for that. I do want to again thank you for sharing your story.
You're very welcome.
It means a lot to hear words of where you've been, where you are now, and the whole journey in between and what you've come across. And so that's definitely something that I respect, and I appreciate you coming in and doing that.
No problem. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I look forward to maybe even having you come in and work with us at some level as well, and maybe even talking to our staff about some, because of some of our staff on Soaring Group side that will be working with the apprentices. I do think it would be powerful to have you come and talk about some of the things that they can be prepared for that it could be impacting apprentices coming into the program, the challenges or barriers that they faced, and helping them understand how to be, oh, there it goes again, helping them be effective, you know, with that program and working with those folks. So I think it would be really good at some point.
I'd be more than willing to do that. Be more than willing to do that because again, something I'm passionate about. Plus, it's something that will help them and me and everybody in general. So,
yeah, awesome.
Good
Okay,
deal.
gentlemen. Well, I know we're going to be catching up with Randy, and sounds like you got some great stuff coming down the road, and we'll be excited to keep up with you and have you part of what we're doing here, and certainly we'll keep you updated. So
great.
all right, thank you, gentlemen. Have a great night.
You do
too.
the same, Matt.
Yep. Cheers. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It was just such a pleasure to talk to Randy. He's just such a powerful person, and his story's amazing. And I'm just blessed that we're able to share that, and hopefully it'll resonate with some folks. So again, right here, come and soar with us on social media. Jason's Heart 402. I've got our links up here to Jason's Heart 402 if you need that. And of course, as always, you can go to our website and support us, get involved, contact us, ask us questions. We would love to have your support. So have a great night. And again, come soar with us.